Good day, fellow geeks. On this week's episode of Geeks of Azeroth, we have breaking news coming out of New Bonnie Me, however you say it. Other stuff also imminent. Stay tuned. By geeks.
About geeks.
For geeks.
Welcome to Geeks of Azeroth!
Hello. Welcome to the show. My name's Tarley. With me, we've got the full cast today. We've got Big Voodoo, we've got Britzza, and we have Zool. Gentlemen, how's it going?
It's always going good.
You Brits are always so happy.
Has anyone ever said that it's not going good?
I'm going terrible.
It's awful.
Well, let's see. Let's do a quick recap what we've all been playing, what we've been doing over the week. We will start with you, Zool. How's your week been?
It's been pretty good. Since both you and Britzza have legendaries, I've been jumping on here and there to do emissary quests and turn in for those caches, and have gotten nothing for it. Nothing at all.
Keep going.
But besides that, I've been playing a lot of Bloodborne for the first time because it was on sale on the PlayStation Network, and it's amazing. And it's been giving my fiance nightmares because I play it right before she goes to bed.
That's so cruel of you.
It's awful. I'm like, but it's so fun.
Bloodborne is a fun game.
It's amazing.
Big Voodoo, what have you been up to this week?
Playing WoW, actually. Again.
Welcome back,
bud. Yes. I was going to level a Shadow Priest, but Tarley's a jerk and isn't leveling with me anymore.
No, we can keep going. We can keep going.
Yeah, I don't believe you. And then I've been working on a Demon Hunter as well. I really should log on to some of my other characters that are already 110. Got like 5 of them at this point, but they're not a Demon Hunter or a Shadow Priest. And mostly Alliance.
That's the right side.
That's a problem.
That is a problem.
Wait, what?
It is a problem. See, they're only Alliance because
we don't need to talk about it. We don't
decided to go Alliance.
Made the biggest mistake of his life.
And
yes,
and recognized that mistake and went back Horde.
And now I have to spend oodles of money or level Horde characters. Hence the Demon Hunter.
Demon Hunters are fun, though.
So, enough about why I'm a jerk. Britzza, how was your week?
Well, on that topic, funny enough, I have done a little bit of WoW. I've got to this stage now where I'm now in the process of researching the final Order Hall tier, the thing that's going to let me wear the second legendary. So I'm now 6 days away from that. That was awful.
Boo.
Getting 15,000 Order Hall resources,
Yeah.
just really awful. And funny enough, I now think that I'm at that stage where I can kind of focus on another character. So I'm going to definitely start working on this druid again. And yeah, I'm kind of the same issue as Big Voodoo, though. I've got so many level 100s that I need to just really work on as well. So I feel like I get a bit of burnout with WoW. And on top of that, I've been playing a bit of Overwatch, getting some skins. Not so much the PTR, but just trying to level up because with the recent season ending, I want to try and actually start playing some ranked games because I'm not actually high enough level to compete in those yet. So just grinding.
Wow, you really haven't played much Overwatch.
I haven't played Overwatch. No, I haven't played it at all.
So mad when I try to do ranked games. I get so mad.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I've been playing Overwatch a lot too with the hype that we will discuss in News of the Week, but I got back into playing Overwatch and I've just been playing quick play. Obviously there's no rank to play right now, but I'm not even playing on my like try hard account, just playing on my normal account. Having some fun, being good at Diva, apparently, even though she sucks now. What else? I've been playing a lot of WoW, as always. I was away for the week, so all I could do was World Quest. I disgustingly had my Mythic Keystone depleted because the game had been playing fine from my hotel room, so I'm like, all right, I can probably run a Mythic. and I get in the mythic group. We get into the dungeon, and I disconnect 3 times immediately, and the group just disbands, and I'm left with a depleted keystone first day. So that was a disappointment, but raided with the guild last night. We're going to raid again tonight. Last night we cleared Heroic Emerald Nightmare in about an hour, and then we got halfway through Nighthold. I got 7 pieces of gear.
Wow.
So I'm now 873. Dang. So I'm getting up there.
That's awesome.
Which character are you doing all this on?
My Mistweaver Monk.
Okay. Healing.
Yep. It's fun stuff.
If that puts it in perspective, Tarley, even with both my legendaries equipped, I'm only eye level 874. So you're really showing me out, to be honest.
Yeah. Once I get a second legendary, I'm sure it will jump pretty high. So unless I get the same legendary, which seems to curse a lot of people. Well, anyway, it's time. Unless anybody else has something they wanted to cover that they did this week. Nope. Well, all right. It's time for news of the week.
Hey, we recording? Yeah? Okay.
News of the week.
That's right. It is time for news of the week. And we have quite a bit of news just to start right off. Blizzard has been teasing the hell out of us for the last week, and specifically a lot in one day. So last week we were already talking about Overwatch a ton, talking about our theories about Efi. I can't remember if there's an L in her name or not. No, so Efi. We talked a lot about her last week and the possibility of her being the new hero. But now, New Mambani has been attacked, and the Doomfist Gauntlet has been stolen, and this has been updated on the PTR.
After we've protected it so many times.
Mm-hmm. So on the PTR now, the map has changed where there's a giant indent in the wall with a defense drone sitting in the middle of it. So something with great impact force had to have sent that robot in there, right?
They got Doomfisted.
It's gotta be Doomfist. The gauntlet is gone, and so are the schematics that are at the end of the level as well. So Doomfist is imminent.
So in that level, do you just escort a car for no reason now, rather than escort the Doomfist?
Yes.
Why are we doing this? We just saw that it was stolen already. Escort the car anyway. All right, fine, whatever.
They still want the broken glass. Bring them the broken glass to the museum.
They got a deposit on the containment module, so they want that back.
We're escorting it because it's a crime scene, and for some reason they can't examine it there. They have to examine it where we escort it to, and the people trying to stop us don't want the crime solved.
Yes.
That actually makes a lot more sense than anything else proposed so far.
They should hire me as a writer.
So what was peculiar, and we'll have links in the show notes for the article that Blizzard released. They released it as if it was an official news, announcement, breaking news statement that this is happening. What was really interesting is of the picture of the New Mambani airport being destroyed, it had all artists have their little taken by blah blah in the corner. The picture was taken by Efi. So Efi was there immediately after the carnage is done. So the new theory, 2 heroes, Doomfist, and the creation of Efi, which people are calling Ancora.
An anchor.
An anchor.
It's just an anchor.
If their phone autocorrects it.
I've got the SpongeBob theme tune in my head now.
They took, Roadhog's, pirate skin. They just took his anchor, and he'd play as just that.
That'd work.
All right. No, Ancora was... I don't actually know why people are theorizing this, but they are. I don't have any images to show you right now, but you can look up pictures of Ancora. We can find some, put some in the show notes. But she's basically... She's actually a person riding in this spider mech type suit. She puts her arms in it, and then her arms extend into 4 legs, and she shoots lasers out of her mouth. There have been pictures of her since the beta days of all the artwork of all the characters, and so people are theorizing that she is Ancora, she is Efi's creation, and Doomfist is also going to be out at the same time. What do you guys think? What do you think of all this news? I've rambled for a good 5 minutes about it at least.
It's worth rambling about, though. It's I think I feel what a lot of people in the community feel, which is that this is getting exciting, and it's great that, we're getting closer and closer and closer to this hero, but come on, Blizz, there's enough teasing going on now. Like, starting off with, as you said, the artwork. I know there's a lot of heroes that people have seen in inverted commas and artwork that haven't been formally announced, but ever since the Terry Crews discussion, it's been Doomfist, Doomfist, Doomfist. Then
next hero isn't who you think it is.
No, it's not who you think it is. And now Doomfist is kind of here again. It's like, well, what's going on here? Is it Doomfist or is it not Doomfist? I think people are now probably getting... If this isn't resolved in a couple of weeks, I think people will start to get a bit frustrated, because this is almost driving the community
We don't want
crazy.
another, half-year-long thing like Sombra one.
Yeah. Sombra was way too drawn out.
Exactly. And if they don't, my theory is, if Doomfist isn't Hero 24 and it's Hero 25, it's got to be as close to a dual release, if not a dual release.
I mean,
See, my thoughts on the dual release, they've specifically said how they're not going to have as many heroes as something like Heroes of the Storm. And so doing two at once, to me, makes it feel like it's going to be so much longer until the next one if they do it that way.
Possibly. And another way I guess you could look at it is maybe, I mean, we might get Ancora or whatever Efi's creation is first, and we're just, all this other stuff is happening just to present the threat of Doomfist into the lore. Like this is why Efi's creation is coming out now, is because Doomfist has the gauntlet, and they're going to build up to Doomfist then more over time.
That, to me, that's what would seem more likely with spacing heroes out.
Mm-hmm. I could see that. I think it was someone on our Twitter talked about the idea of Doomfist not even being... No, I don't know. But Doomfist could come out at the same time as Ancora, but not as a playable character yet. A PvE scenario where 4 or so heroes versus boss Doomfist. You can't play as him yet,
that
but
would be awesome.
Yeah.
But then he's in the game.
But he's in the game, and it'd be another PvE event. Unity Day event.
I'd be totally down for that.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Have a big old boss-style fight with...
like a loot drop. He drops loot boxes when you kill him.
No, seriously, that'd be so amazing.
Yeah.
Have boss fight mechanics and everything. And
Blizzard, if this isn't what you're planning, of course, we always do, we are feeding you gold right now.
Take it, pay us for it. I mean, what?
What do you think, Big Voodoo? Been awfully silent on the topic.
It's not going to be a spider robot, or most likely not going to be a spider robot.
Okay.
You don't want to go Wild West on this?
Sorry, I was researching and educating myself as everyone was talking.
What are you doing on this podcast?
That doesn't belong here.
At any rate, Kaplan pretty much shut down the whole idea of that spider robot being Ancora. But he didn't shut down that Ancora is the next hero. So
it's a beetle robot.
Maybe.
Scorpion robot.
Essentially what he said, he went the same route as denying Doomfist was going to be next and saying that
the spider robot isn't who you think it is?
Yes, the spider robot is not who you think it is. So...
Yeah, because there was a piece of artwork that everyone was basing their theory on, and then there's, very recently he did, he was, I think it was at DICE or somewhere.
Yeah, it was DICE.
Yeah, he's standing, and he's got that artwork behind him, and he's like, this spider robot is not who you think it is. So, she's probably not Encore, but I like to put the idea in your heads anyway. Because she's probably going to be someone eventually. And she's massive. And the idea of that hero, towering over everyone else, would be really interesting.
How would you fit in the indoor environments then?
Crouch.
You have to be crouched the whole time?
Well, I think the idea...
the legs, probably.
I would see that's probably an ult, is that form. Normally she's probably on the ground like a normal hero, and then she ults and turns into that, giant... laser.
You ult while you're inside, and you just fill up the space and smash everyone that's inside, and you can't move.
Yeah.
And then you shrink back down, and there's just bodies everywhere.
You know what would be really cool with, a character that looked like that, though, is imagine, the different travel mechanics it has. maybe you can't travel in tight spaces, but you can walk on walls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add a whole
That would
nother
be
level of like verticality to everything. Because, Hanzo can kind of do it, Lucio can kind of do it. Just straight up like, I can
step over
wall if I
walls.
want.
That would be cool. That would be fun.
Yeah, I like that idea.
You could set up ambushes by like sitting on the ceiling someplace, and people run in and don't notice you, and just boom.
Yeah. Spider robot.
Well, imagine trying to defend a vantage point from, you're sitting there and you're trying to build a bottleneck, but then, Ancora just comes along the wall and just vaporizes like half your team because you're all tightly packed. That would be so cool to change some of the meta there.
I'd like to wrap this back around to like the news that we were initially talking about. I think either way, we are going to find out within the next 1 to 2, 3 weeks at the most as to who the next hero is, based on the way Blizzard has always consistently released something new for their games when other game companies are doing something big. And obviously, as we've talked about before, March is a huge month for games.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have an answer to that. And so we'll see that soon. All right, moving on. What are we moving on to? 7.2 PvP changes have been tossed out the window after the players complained about it. So, yay, rah, people. If only everything else could work that way.
People are gems. Absolute gems.
So what Blizzard intentionally wanted to do to World PvP was players now deal 40% less damage to other players. Players now have 25% less stamina in PvP instances, and players now have 20% more agility, intellect, and strength in PvP instances.
You just would have made PvP brutal.
Yeah. Definitely.
Just brutal one-shot annihilation matches. It would have been absolutely a massacre. They
wanted to turn it into For Honor.
I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty
much
is brutal.
So, I honestly, I don't have a whole lot to say about WoW PvP, because I haven't done it in quite a long time, but I guess this is a good thing. I would stay tuned to our episode next week. We intend to have Lore, if you remember Lore from, not Blizzard Lore, but Lore from, he was on the show about a year and a half ago. A big time WoW PvPer. He intends to join us next week on the show, so be here for that. And he wants to talk all about WoW PvP, the state of things. So we can probably dive deeper into this subject, what it means for PvP, next week.
Yeah.
Did you have any take on this, Britzza, when you put it on the notes?
Only because it's something that got a lot of traction in the PvP community, and it's interesting what real Lore's response was.
Real Lore.
We'll call him fake Lore next
the one who
week.
actually works for Blizzard. Just his response and saying that, after continued discussion, they're not going to implement them, but they do recognize there's a problem with World PvP right now. And I think that's interesting. That I think maybe because us as a very PvE focused podcast when it comes to talking WoW, and a lot of other podcasts are like this, we forget that PvP is a little bit in a mess in some respects, and I'm sure, like you say, Law can talk more about this next week. But I think that's a huge admittance. I think coming from Blizzard, they're still almost 8 months after release, and PvP's just not quite there yet. So more to follow next week, I guess.
Yeah, I really thought the system would work out, everything being equal and the talent system. But yeah, I briefly was speaking with Lore last night about it, and he said it's just like you said. He said it's a mess and it's pretty crazy. So,
which is strange because PvP changes in Legion were one of the biggest changes coming to the system. I know we got WorldQuest, but they got an entirely restructured PvP talent system and reward system, and the fact they've had to suggest 40% and 25% changes just to try and bring it more in line, as Zul pointed out, and For Honor style mechanics. It seems a bit weird.
Well, I got Icy Touch. I'm going to die in 3 seconds.
They bring in instant execution moves, and
I would be all for that, but Warcraft isn't that kind of game yet. 10 years from now, we'll see. Let's see, moving on. Legion developer Q&A live blog. Live blah. for 2017. So it was this past Thursday, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
They had a Q&A. So I am looking at these notes for the first time ever. So let's read through some of these changes and learn. It'll be.
I watched the whole thing. I was prepared.
You watched the whole thing. Sorry, I was learning.
Again, what are you doing on this show?
Right? I feel out of place.
You need to stop being so prepared.
Well, why don't we let Big Voodoo sort of
yeah.
lead the way and sort of pick out some of the main points?
Yeah, go
All
ahead.
right. So, a lot of this stuff is just generic stuff and people whining. I will admit right off the bat. But there were some really interesting points I wanted to hit at and kind of accentuate before we just kind of read through and, pick out highlights that we see as we read. Bad luck protection on legendaries is going... They're working on implementing a system where it's how many legendaries for your spec don't you have right now.
All of them.
So, yeah, and that's the idea. If you don't have all of them, you get the highest level of bad luck protection on it. If you have 2 legendaries, but you got the same one twice, then it only counts as 1 still that you have, which I thought was a good way of running the system. That way, if you pick up 3 legendaries and they're all the same, it's still like you've only picked up 1. Essentially, you have only picked up 1. They hit on why in 7.2 relics are going to have 2 traits that they buff. One, those 2 traits can't be the same trait. And the reason the second one's a random roll is to make sure people aren't farming one particular boss for one particular item. Instead, any of the relics that drop could potentially be your best in slot if they're rolled the right option. So a little bit more RNG, but I think the way they put it, it made sense. Like, instead of having to build 5 million new artifacts to make people happy, they only have to build some and let randomness kind of sort it out.
Yeah, it doesn't seem... I've just kind of read through all the questions here, and it doesn't seem like there is much more than a bunch of people whining. You were kind of right about that.
Yeah. Also, listening to Ian Hazakosis explain why people get frustrated at high-end mythic raiding was the most hilarious thing I've ever heard.
Okay.
He pretty much sat down and went, your guild leaders are stupid and expect too much out of the entire guild. That is the reason people are quitting. He's like, there's nothing wrong with our system. Yes, you can get incremental gains from AP no longer, or if you play longer, but the amount of benefit you get from it is not worth the time that you guys are having to spend to do it. So quit doing it.
That's
Don't
great.
play WoW 12 hours a day. It's okay.
One thing I did see, being talked about coming in patch 7.2, I didn't actually see here on the notes, but it is a very interesting way that you are going to be able to at least somewhat target a legendary for yourself. And that is through grinding the mobs on the Broken Shore. You get, I can't remember what they're called, some new kind of currency item, basically, which is coming with the patch. And one of the things you can get with it is a token that guarantees you a legendary for a slot. So, you could get a legendary ring token if your best in slot is a ring, though you have a chance of getting a useless one or one you need. But it's kind of a somewhat way of targeting.
All right.
That's pretty cool. And it's probably going to be ridiculously expensive. There are no solid numbers on the PTI right now for how much anything costs. But I would imagine that one's going to take quite a bit to grind.
Yes.
You guys are a real talkative bunch right now.
I'll jump in here. I think a lot of this, as we've already said, is people generally voicing their frustrations with a particular mechanic that Blizzard is trying to implement or has a valid reason for putting in. So yeah, I do think some of this is a bit moany, and you know, especially when it comes to people saying, you know, why isn't my AP class wide? And it's like, well, that's not the point. You know, Blizzard rightly says that the point is to be able to spread your AP. They want people to play more than one spec. That's why they opened up every spec to everybody. They don't want you just piling in AP into one weapon. And yet people say, well, hang on, why can't I be the best ever? And I think, without going on a complete tangent, I think part of this is that, and I kind of came up with this idea as I was listening to Convert to Raid and their this recent discussion on the place of world first raiders teams have recently been leaving the game. I don't think WoW is supposed to be played at such an elitist level anymore. I think that Blizzard doesn't want people to try and min-max their game. They want people to play and experience as much of it as possible in as wide and as general a way as possible without trying to think about how they can beat the system to squeeze extra percentage out of things. So that's why I think Blizzard's responses are starting to come back as is, you know what, guys, stop trying to do something with the game. We want you just to have fun, play it, and don't worry too much about why the numbers aren't there.
That is true, but I mean, that doesn't just give or dismiss, like, they do have some faults in Legion. And I mean, like, when you think about it, if you have a problem with Legion, it's most likely going to be either artifact power, leveling an alt, or legendaries. I mean, that seems to be like what everybody complains about is one of those three things. And the rest of the game, I mean, because it's hard to complain about Legion, right? I mean, Legion is fantastic in so many ways, but like the artifact power, for me, like, as I'm trying to raid with my schedule, so I don't feel like I have time to have an alt. I could level an alt, but then I don't have time to maintain more than one character at a competitive level.
But why does it need to be a competitive level?
I don't know. What? Because why else would I have it? I guess
to play. So, are you telling me that you need as much artifact power as your monk has in order to be able to play through Emerald Nightmare?
Well, Emerald Nightmare is useless now, pretty much.
But it's not. I mean, it may not be the highest tier raid content right now, but it's not like you're one raid tier behind with an alt. But why is that such a big deal? Like, this alt that I almost never play can still do raid content, just not this raid content quite yet. And I think that's what Blizzard's trying to say is, there's still plenty of game, and yes, you may not be 100% as good as your current character, but you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be able to dump 300 less hours into a character and be at the same level that your current one is right now.
Fair.
But, you know, people are always going to always have, you know, right reasons to complain about something. I feel like I'm talking over Zul's chance to speak, but yeah, I think there's two ways to see it. I'm not dismissing, as you said, Tarley, I'm not dismissing the valid concerns, but as Big Voodoo said, I think Blizzard wants us to play the game and play more of it, and I think a lot of this is around, you know, why is my out-of-date legendary not as good as it could be? Well, you know, you got it 3 months ago, and there's an option to upgrade. You know, there's always something that they're overlooking, I feel. Go on, Zul. Fix the problem.
Fix the problem. Give me a legendary. Does that fix it?
Yes.
And you guys all have really good points, honestly. They keep iterating on stuff, and they're going to keep trying to figure out what works best. But yeah, they just want people to play and have fun. So
I am just happy that they haven't done the Warlords thing and just abandon ship onto the next expansion, everybody.
And move on.
They have not.
That's their go-to solution now. People start complaining too much, they just move on to the next one.
Well, so let's not push them to that, everyone. Let's see. Okay, so anything else on the Q&A? because more WoW news, they have come out with 7.2 and announced that there are going to be rep mounts. Finally, we're wondering where they were. They're going to be with the Paragon. You have to earn 10 exalted supply rewards from any faction to get their mount. So if you don't know what?
No. In order to get the mount, the mounts drop from the supply drops you get after reaching
Right. Paragon.
20k bonus rep with a faction.
That's going to hurt.
Wow.
Yeah. So you hit 20k bonus rep, you get a supply drop from that faction. That supply drop has a chance to drop the mount. So it's going to be a nightmare. But
it's going to be an emerald nightmare. Okay.
Boy.
Yeah, so it's going to be quite ridiculous. I don't even have all my factions to exalted yet, let alone be ready for Paragons. But yeah, you can get a moose, you can get a storm drake, you can get a unicorn,
Yes.
and a flying carpet.
But I'm playing a druid. I just shapeshift. I don't use mounts.
Well, then
Don't worry about getting so much extra rep.
You know what
There you
it
go,
should
you don't
do?
have to do that.
Let me get enough rep, and then my stag form becomes a unicorn form.
yeah,
That's
that
what
would
I
that
want.
would be pretty cool, actually.
I want my troll to turn into a unicorn
But you won't need
instead
your
of a stag.
In 7.2, you won't need your stag because you'll be able to fly.
This is true. And then I can get my cool
Yep.
alternative flight, which, being a bit of a lore nerd, bugs me because it's a bird, and the jungle trolls actually don't like birds and look down on the troll tribes that actually worship them. So,
Well, speaking
Plot.
speaking of flying in Legion, how far have you guys progressed in your Pathfinder? Have you finished it yet? Yeah.
not even close.
I am one checkpoint from one achievement away from having the full first part of Pathfinder. I'm 500 rep away from being exalted with Sirimar, and I'll be able to finish the quest line. And so within the next week, I will have part 1 Pathfinder.
Nice.
I'm
Believe
just
it took me
struggling
till this morning to get Explorer. I just realized I had never gone up to True Shot Lodge on my monk. Which
It's always those places. Yeah.
like why would I go to the
corner.
why would I go to the hunter to the hunter's lodge? But whatever. I went there, got an achievement, got 2 achievements. Woohoo!
And I think that's going to be a problem here, is that a lot of people are still not quite there with Pathfinder. I'm not. I'm still behind on the rep and the Good Samaritan quest because I spent some of my time doing emissary quests. So I haven't got any time to actually do real quests.
See, I went off and got distracted by my warlock, and now I'm back on my druid, so that helps me in no way whatsoever.
Yeah.
You've only got to get one. Once you've done one, it unlocks account wide.
But I'm saying, so I've split my time between...
Oh,
It is a good
Like,
thing that they took away the attunement for the Sirimar quest. Once you've done it on one character, it's account wide. I'm so glad they did that because Sirimar grind, you only need to do it once.
it goes on forever.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
I mean, what do you guys think about these mounts? There's an interesting comment underneath this this blog post which says starts off nice additions, but once again something else gated behind RNG. And I just wonder whether you guys agree that is this just another example of a carrot on a stick that people have to just grind endlessly for?
No. I think
Discussion over.
I think that will be the mentality of a significant amount of players. But to be honest, what one of these 5 mounts do you really need? I mean, you may really want it because it's a really cool mount and it's cool, but it's not going to help you play the game any differently than you already are. So it's not really that big of a deal. Like...
Yeah, I mean, it purely is cosmetic. There's nothing to it that benefits your game. I mean, I'm probably not going to pursue it any more than just doing my emissaries. I'm not going to be doing every single world quest every single day that's available. But you'll get to it eventually, like towards the end of the expansion, if you just do your emissaries every day.
Yeah, one day, maybe like 3 expansions in the future.
Well, I mean, you get, what, 250 or 250 rep per quest on average, right?
Blue quests are 250, 75 for not blue quests.
And you've always got the chance with the Kirin Tor
Yep, the Kirin Tor
quest
quest
to
give you
boost it. 1,500, is it?
Mm-hmm.
So, say, let's go 225, 250. So 475 if you do 4 world quests. And then the emissary is, what, 500 that you get for turning the emissary quest in?
750.
750.
Yeah.
So about 1250 rep for one emissary.
Yeah, I mean, it'll go. It'll definitely go.
Granted, that also means you have to do emissaries like
Every day.
17 times in order to get a chest from one faction.
Yeah.
And that's where when you put it like that, then it suddenly becomes an issue again because.
But of course, the weekly event always comes by too. Like, and it's happening this week where you get bonus rep from each emissary, or from each world quest gives you more rep. So that'll happen too, and that'll help out.
I honestly would just run with the perspective of do your emissaries and play normally. Eventually, you'll get the rep, and if you don't, it's nothing to worry about.
Sorry for cutting you off twice, Britzza.
Yes.
No, it's fine. No, I haven't really got anything to add. I totally agree with what you said. I think there's a mentality here, and you're right. No one should be entitled to these. They are a nice little thing for people who are still doing emissary quests, even when they're exhausted with every faction, and might even have like 2 legendaries.
Because they're trying to get all the legendaries.
Yeah, exactly. But my concern is this could become for Mount Hunters what legendaries are for the general player base, and that it's something that they someone will get on their first one. I'll get 3 in my first ever one, and then they'll be like, "Why has Britzza got one in his first one, and I've done 20 of them, and I haven't got one?"
The game has so much RNG; it's kind of ridiculous at this point. I guess that would be a valid complaint. Yeah.
I mean, aren't RPGs always been about RNG though?
To an extent,
Yeah.
but this is like the first time, and I've said this every time we go to this conversation. It's like this is the only time in WoW we've seen like complete RNG without a solid way to eventually get your reward, like a currency type system.
And that's the thing. Would this benefit from after every one of those caches that you get? Whilst the mount has a small chance to drop, maybe you're guaranteed at least say a token, which after 20 tokens you could just 10 tokens you could just buy the mount. Then there's a sort of bad luck feature for everyone.
Right. Like yeah, because I just feel like without the currency systems that have been in the game previously, it makes the RNG gearing and other types of reward very frustrating. Again, though, because it's non-cosmetic, it's not as big of a deal. I don't think it'll be like the Legendary Hunters thing because, again, it's not required. But yeah, just so much RNG.
Tasty RNG.
All right, and last bit of news. Wow, we have been on News of the Week for 40 minutes now, so woo! Overwatch League. So we were just talking about how it's not going to start in 2017. Well, guess what, everybody? Overwatch League is starting in 2017. Quarter 3.
In the exact same fashion that we called it, though. Quarter 3, they start hiring people, but it's not really happening.
Until 2018.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I think one of the most interesting things about, and we'll have the show links in the show notes, or the show notes and the links, one of the two. They will. What was I saying? I totally lost track. What was I talking about, guys?
Links in show notes, something?
Are you going off about the finals?
Yes. So the finals, instead of being at BlizzCon, they will be in a different city every year, like the Super Bowl.
That's cool.
That's really interesting.
Is that a different location globally?
Yeah. I believe it's starting in the U.S. I think they said that somewhere, but I'm not entirely sure. But it will be global. There's no region locking, and obviously no gender rules either. The teams can be made up of whoever they want them to be, and they will be around the world, games played every week, with finals like the Super Bowl played in different cities every year. This is starting to sound more and more awesome every time I hear about it. I just want it to start.
Seriously. Yeah.
I mean, I really hope that there is a league somewhere within a reasonable drive to me that I can go for like a weekend and watch some esports. Like, that just sounds really fun.
My only hope is Portland.
My hope is Denver, pretty much.
I was
still
listening
10
to
hours.
London, I guess, is probably going to be the only city in the UK for a while.
You're probably guaranteed to have a team in London, at least one.
Yeah, we would hope at least one. But I was listening to the Overcast podcast earlier in the week, and they were talking about how these teams are going to be funded, and as well as profit shares. They toyed with the idea of whether teams could be financially supported by you sort of buying into skins, for example.
In-game items.
So in-game items, effectively, yeah. So you could buy those. And I just wonder what you guys thought about that. Would you like wear your team's colours in Overwatch and maybe other games potentially?
I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If there was a local team, hell yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Just I don't know. It gets me hyped. I'm just like excited thinking about all these possibilities that the Overwatch League could be, and just in-game items to support your team. Like, just having a team to follow alone is really cool. And then having, gear in game, like Tracer wearing the Denver Broncos logo. I don't know, just because that's the only name I can come up with. A Denver esports team for now.
It's all that's allowed.
Still, yeah. I mean, it's really cool. Or Miami Heat. We already know that Miami Heat will be an esports team. I think they own. I can't remember. Not Dignitas, something like that.
Okay, quick question for
Might
you guys then.
Dignitas.
If it's Q3 2017, we're going to start to see the drafts and the teams start to form. What do you think's going to be shown at BlizzCon?
The team names and locations?
Yeah, because that will be Q3. So, yeah.
Going into Q4, that would be November.
Yeah. As far as that goes, we'll probably know the teams, and they'll probably announce the schedule, probably, or how concrete. This is how Overwatch League is going to work. They should have that by then, I would imagine.
Do an exhibition match if any teams have started drafting people yet?
Well, since the finals will be the World Cup or the World Finals for the Overwatch League will be in different places every year. They could probably still do that World Cup thing at BlizzCon every year. Maybe exhibition matches, but I don't know. With BlizzCon always
World
being
Cup would be interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, with Overwatch or with BlizzCon being like this huge esports thing for Blizzard, all their games have their esports events. Even Diablo esports, not really, but. What's Overwatch gonna bring to that table now if they don't have their World Finals at BlizzCon?
A World Cup would be interesting though, kind of like the Pro Bowl for football, like very much
the best players from each region,
the best players from every region, and they're gonna duke it out
based on and this is based on like their performance stats. Like, it's not just voted in like it was last time. It'd be based on performance stats throughout the Overwatch League season. And then America gets a team, Korea gets a team, which will win. Russia will have a team.
That would be a cool way to do it. So you'd have like a UK division that would look at all the teams and draft from all the top players from those teams.
Yeah,
because that's how the Pro Bowl works for NFL. They just take the players with the best stats in each role position. I don't know, like quarterback, for example. I don't know what you call that. Your role, you're the quarterback. Yeah.
Offense, defense, tank.
Yeah.
So the players in those best roles with the best stats get to go play football in Hawaii. That's how the NFL works, and so I can see the Overwatch League working very similarly.
That would be a really cool idea.
Blizzard, two great ideas today for you. Usually, that's better than like the half idea that we kind of spit out. So there you go.
It's exciting, though.
I like that idea. There we go. We came in with a question and came out with an answer. So that's cool.
Well done, us.
I mean, as far as BlizzCon this year, who knows what they'll do, because obviously it won't have started yet. Probably just another World Cup like last year, but
Did that last much after BlizzCon? Like, I haven't heard anything on. Yeah, like, I didn't know whether that was supposed to be the World Cup and, like, there was supposed to be, like, follow-on stuff, like you were able to track the teams and things like that. And
the World Cup was just specifically a thing
one-off
for BlizzCon, yeah.
Okay.
It was
Be
just
nice
so
to do that.
Overwatch was there, essentially.
And they were there. That stage is still, like, so cool. I loved that Overwatch arena. Really cool. Now I'm just thinking about BlizzCon and how excited I am for BlizzCon, and it's months away. All right. Well, it's time. I guess we should move on to the discussion of the week. We've been delaying it for so long because we have such a quick answer. Here we go. Sounder time.
What's a Drenna anyhow? Can I drink it?
Discussion of the week.
That's right. It's time for discussion of the week. And we're going to be discussing a question presented to us by Britzza. And so I want everybody to bring in the harmonies as I sing the answer to this question. So have two player heroes like Cho'Gall worked in Heroes of the Storm? Would a 2-player hero work in Overwatch? All right, everybody join me. Hell no. Come on.
I put a lot of thought into these questions, Tarley.
No, that was
The wrong thought, apparently.
okay.
That was a
Okay.
very abrupt answer, of course, but that was my immediate thought process. Like, that wouldn't work.
And I think you probably have a fair point, but where I got this from was from all this talk about Efi, and there was a lot of, when she was announced, everyone was like, oh my god, Captain was right, the 24th hero is going to be this little girl, and then everyone pointed out, no, it's not going to be, because it's a T14 game, and you can't shoot 11-year-old girls in T14 games. So Efi wouldn't be part of this, and that's right. But I thought, well, hang on a second, they've got a really interesting character here. What could they do to, the issue is about her being a target in the game. So I started thinking, well, maybe she's linked to Omnics and things like that. And I thought, well, what if you were playing an Omnic character and you were getting, like, Efi was in your ear, a bit like a sort of Master Chief Cortana situation. And then I thought, well, hang on. They've tried 2-player characters like Sho'Gall in Heroes. Would a 2-player hero work in Overwatch? And I think to an extent it could. In the, well, actually, I don't know how it would work, but
the way you describe that, the way you describe that actually had my thoughts going completely differently in something that might work. So not necessarily a 2-player hero, but what if Efi worked something like Abathur?
And that's exactly what I was going to get onto, because Abathur just buffs.
Yeah.
And what if Efi could just
Efi
buff
never leaves the
Omnic
spawner.
devices?
What if Efi never leaves? Yeah. She's actually there, a little girl, but she controls a little drone from the control room, and that drone can then, like, buff players, can sit on their heads like an Abby hat, give that player different buffs and debuffs, be able to shoot from atop this person's or from on their back, do abilities like that.
I mean, in fairness, that's not a 2-player hero, and I've kind of shot myself in the foot a bit.
When you said 2-player hero, my thought was like a super bastion where someone's driving him and then the other person's like controlling the turrets and the guns on him. So
it could be that you have it's so much like Sho'Gall in that if one player chooses Efi, another player has to be this. But I guess the problem would be around how character selection in Overwatch works, because if one player died and they change character, does that kick the other character out?
We kick the other player off Efi.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think that would work. And the more I think about it, it does become a very intricate problem. But I wonder whether the idea of having a central character controlled by 2 players, like what if was it Ankori we were talking about?
Mm-hmm.
What if one of the images, I think, I don't know if that was from DICE, is that she's shooting her laser beam on her spider legs, but there's also all these drones and spider drones that are sort of coming off, and I wonder, like, what if one player controlled the drones and one player controlled the movement, or what? How would that work?
It's interesting, but I still feel like it fundamentally doesn't work. I mean, I barely think it works for Heroes of the Storm, honestly. It causes a lot of confusion and frustration. But with a first-person game like Overwatch, I just think it would be way too chaotic, way too tough to actually control. Again, what do you guys think? The Big Voodoo or Zool?
I'm with you. I don't think it would work out, really. Trying to have two people control one, and just then having a smaller team size because of that and everything.
I mean, people get salty with each other already. Can you imagine the things people would be yelling at each other?
Be bad.
Yeah, I don't think a Cho'Gall would work. I really don't. But someone like Abathur, potentially. It would reduce your kind of map presence, I guess, because there's only 5 of you instead of 6, essentially. But Abathur does the same thing in a game that map presence is probably much more important on. So I think it could work for Overwatch. And even if it's just like buffs and maybe like has the ability to set up traps in different spots, like a very... Do you guys remember the Fable game that was supposed to come out that never did?
Yeah.
Where someone played as the mastermind?
Mm-hmm.
Efi is the mastermind. You get a top-down view of the map, and you're able to set traps and do stuff like that from her. Buff your allies, you know.
I feel like having
that.
a top-down view of the map would be a little overpowered.
It could be. It really could be. But it would also...
only see... Go on, Big Daddy.
It would also solve the problem of, you know, your lowered map presence. Yes, you have less map presence because there's only 5 of you, but you have near perfect information because of it, as long as that information is being shared well by your teammate.
Which it won't be.
It would completely destroy sneak attacks, though. I mean, like, oh, they're coming in this way, they're coming in that way. They're like, I don't know. I feel like that. It's a good idea. I just feel like it'd be too powerful. I don't think Blizzard would do it.
It would change the meta, yes. And characters like Tracer and Reaper would be countered then, and Sombra would be countered by Efi. But it wouldn't do anything.
I really
Reinhardt,
like it.
right?
No, that's true. And I really like this idea. It just seems so... I guess there's a lot of buildings and a lot of stuff that could still hide. It's not like you'd be able to see through buildings. Unless you had a Widowmaker combo. Oh, that would make Widowmaker's ult also very much more useful combined with Efi. Okay.
It would change the meta. It would. But I think it's viable. And a mastermind style character, I don't know. I think it'd be kind of interesting to play.
Yeah.
I think we've stepped away from the 2-player. I think that's probably...
Well, because we had an answer immediately to the question. Hell no.
Yeah, you did. And you know what? That's fair enough. I don't think we need one. I think it's just interesting that, like you said, they tried it and it hasn't really gone anywhere. They haven't thought this is a great idea. Players want 2-player heroes.
You control his arms, I'll control his legs. Let's see how this works.
But it is fun. I played it with Dracast when we were getting the mount, and it was fun. But like you say, in a competitive game, you know, it becomes a bit more of a challenging situation, I imagine.
So Cho'Gall is still used in competitive heroes on occasion. It's not common, he's not meta, but people will use him. Cho'Gall works. He's not great, he's not terrible, he just is Cho'Gall. But I think the problem is that a lot of the benefits that he has don't really make up for the lack of map presence, which is why Cho'Gall just doesn't really work in heroes. And I'm pretty sure for Overwatch, 2-player heroes just becomes far more complex than heroes itself, so it doesn't work there. But another 2-player hero in heroes might happen, and I wouldn't be terribly upset about it. So yes, and no. Mostly no.
Well, hell no, and then maybe.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, okay, a complete spin it. Do you think, though, that's Efi would actually ever get into the game, or do you think, no, that's it, she's just a character in the story, and that's all she's going to be?
Well, like you said, it's a T-rated game. You can't kill 11-year-olds in T-rated games.
Yeah. Gets a little iffy there.
Yeah, but who's the little Pandaren who goes around with Chen in Pandaria?
That's right. You can kill Lily.
And how old is Lily?
Like 9.
She's a bear.
Yeah. Who cares? She's a bear. I can splatter her corpse halfway across the map.
And I can tell you from experience, Lily is also one of my followers as a monk, and I have her as like my companion out in the world. She pops up and heals me all the time, but she's so annoying. I want to kill Lily every single day. So, yeah, I would have no problem killing an 11-year-old panda, but killing an 11-year-old girl, that is. There's a difference.
Okay.
I don't want people to start popping up everywhere with Panda Lives Matter signs. I mean, like...
Well, they do. But, this is a video game, Panda.
Okay, there's loads of forum posts here, and one says that she's possibly 15 years old. So that's there's a question mark there over,
She could also be 70 years old because the post, like her initial interview was posted in 2017 as the date. And Overwatch is like 70 years in the future.
So one of them specifically came out and said that interview is modern day
Overwatch.
Okay,
so.
Yeah.
Never mind.
I forget where, but one of them did say that.
So Efi really is 11 years old. Okay. So we can't kill her. What if she's just invincible?
God, no.
She can't do anything, but you can't kill her. She just runs around and she can emote at everybody.
I think we should go back to the idea of a playable mission where Effie goes round and punches you into walls and talks you down in the voice of Terry Crews.
Okay. So for the final tinfoil hat theory, what if Effie is Doomfist?
Effie takes the fist and it's just like, blah!
Power!
I just want to see. So you have this little 11-year-old run up to you and then just boom right in your face,
and she sounds like Terry Crews
because of the Doomfist. And then when she takes off the Doomfist, like for victory poses or emotes, they have a different voice actor do her actual voice. But the Doomfist on makes her voice change.
Well, maybe that's it. We said. We were wondering whether Terry Crews was going to play Doomfist, i.e. the character. What if he's voicing the Doomfist?
It becomes sentient.
Oh my god. The 24th hero is not Spider-Man. Who you think it is.
It is.
I like
That'd be so funny.
I like it a lot.
I think we can end on that high note right there. What do you guys think?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That was a good one to end on. Thank you, as always, everybody, for listening. You can always check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, and Twitch. You can find us on Twitter at Geeks of Azeroth. And thank you, everybody, on Twitter. I'd like to say it seems like we've had quite a lot of following pickup this week on Twitter. So thank you, everybody, for that. You can find me personally at Tarley_pause. I want my Twitter to light up just as much as Geeks of Azeroth. Come on. Britzza, where can we find you?
You can find me at Britzza_EG.
Zool, where can we find you?
At ZoolGeek.
Big Voodoo's is too complicated. We're not even... Okay, whatever. What is yours?
At V1GV00D00.
And, of course, you can always contact us on the show with questions, shout-outs, other bad ideas for a discussion topic like Britzza did. Just kidding, Britzza. Send all of that to geeksofazerotheg at gmail.com. And remember to check out epicgeeks.co.uk for all of our other content. Otherwise, everyone have a great week playing their Blizzard games or playing Horizon Zero Dawn or getting a Nintendo Switch. I'm jealous of you. Everyone have a great week.
Bye.
This podcast is part of the Epic Geeks Network. To find out more about our other gaming podcasts, head to epicgeeks.co.uk.